Hello, Longview. I'm Jennifer, and I'm here with Mike and Lou Ann Dunger to talk about Mum Night. So my first question, if you're new around Longview, like I was the first time I saw the word mum, I did not know what that meant. So tell us, what is MUM? M-U-M.
MUM stands for the Memphis Union Mission.
Okay, so where is the Memphis Union Mission and what do they do?
The mission is at 383 Poplar, and the mission actually started right after World War II. They found that so many veterans were coming back and they were climbing into a bottle to deal with what they had dealt with overseas. And veteran alcoholism was huge. And the Memphis Union Mission actually grew out of a similar mission in Charlotte. And a couple of men moved to Memphis and started it up, and it's been going since 1946.
That's wonderful.
To help men with recovery from alcohol, substance abuse, and other issues.
Is it just men still?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, tell me more about the mission and what it looks like today and what they're doing for men today. Do people live there? Do they come just only on Saturdays? I think a lot of us would like to know that.
Well, just like a lot of things before COVID, the mission looked a lot different than it does today. They used to open the doors during the day. Women and men and children would come in for lunch. They had to listen to a sermon or a devotional and learn about Jesus before they could eat. And then they would get served a meal. There are men that live there. They're in programs. They have different time linked programs.
So like recovery programs?
Yes, they have recovery programs that are for different lengths, and when they meet those conditions, they get to graduate and proceed. They have a colony that they can go and move into where they will train them for a job and help supply them with a home, vehicles, anything they need to live on.
And Mike, you had mentioned about a worship center being built.
Yeah, they're actually in the phase 2 of their expansion. It's sad that we have to expand homeless ministries, but they had been in the same building for 30 years, and it was actually an old theater. And they would serve meals, they would worship, and they would sometimes sleep in the same room. They had mats that they would stack up. And through the generosity of local churches and many local businesses, they were able to expand and build a brand new dorm that sleeps, I believe, about 100. And that was phase 1. They're already in that. Phase 2, and phase 1 was also the new dining hall. So they have a dedicated dining hall. Phase 2 is the worship center, which is big enough for, if I remember correctly, around 300 people to be in the worship center at one time. It has a dedicated baptismal. So in the past, when somebody got baptism, they filled up a water trough, like from, Ranch Supply. And this will have a dedicated sound system and everything. When we show up, we'll just have to plug in and play.
Oh, that's great.
And then the next phase is supposed to be another dormitory to expand to around 200.
Okay, do they have to do anything specific in order to be able to stay in the dormitory? Do they have to meet certain criteria, or can they walk in off the streets?
They can walk in off the street. They do charge $6 a night. And a lot of people kind of had a problem with that until you understand that, again, a lot of the guests at the mission do have some form of government benefits. They're either veterans that are getting VA checks, or they are on some type of disability, and they're not. If they don't take the $6 and use it to fund the mission, they're going to spend it on drugs and alcohol. But the mission also has work jobs. If you don't have the $6, they will let you pick up trash around the facility, or work in the kitchen, or wash dishes, or whatever. And then anytime the temperature there is a lower and an upper temperature. If it's below 35 degrees at night, they don't charge anything. They open up for anybody they can. They actually have some overflow for just night guests during that.
Wonderful. That's so wonderful. How did you guys get involved in the ministry?
About 11 years ago or so, Longview started taking a team to the Memphis Union Mission, And Mike and I always wanted to join along, so we finally did one time, and then we just got stuck.
All right, I want to know your first impressions when you got there, and has that changed over the years, over the 11 years?
For me, I have to admit, her mom actually suggested 20 years ago us going up and serving on Thanksgiving, serving Thanksgiving dinner, and my initial response was, "There's no way. I have no interest with, the people that are there because of their own choices and their own decisions," and I really had a hard heart about it. The first time we actually went, I was on pins and needles and kind of nervous, and God really broke my heart over that pride and that sense of being better than anybody. A lot of the men up there are devout Christians, but they deal with sins that are different than mine. Mine are anger and lust and a couple of others, but the guy that's dealing with alcoholism or substance abuse, he's no more or no less of a sinner, and a lot of those men are Christians.
So Lou Ann, how about you? What was your first impression?
I was afraid. I was scared. It smelled funny, and people were rattling snack bags and snoring, and it took a while for me to get used to it, but my heart grew for those men.
And was there really anything to be afraid of?
No, God's always in control.
Yeah, that's neat. Okay, so what do you do when you go to the mission?
Well, we actually serve lunch, and we also provide the worship service. So we go, usually I go buy the food Friday afternoon, we load up Saturday morning, go deliver the food, while part of the group is preparing lunch. The rest of us are setting up the PA system. Right now we're actually leading worship in the kitchen until they get through with the new worship center. But at 11 o'clock we start a worship service. We do usually 3 or 4 songs to worship, and then I preach, and then after that the food's cooked and we serve the meal out.
Okay. What kind of food do you cook? What kind of food is it?
The meal is always the same. It's hot meatball sub sandwiches with cheese sprinkled on top, and then Oreo cookies and tortilla chips.
Okay, so they must love this.
They do.
Okay, and so our church goes on the 3rd Saturday of every month.
That's right.
So can anybody go?
Anybody
How does this
can
work?
go. Our goal is to have a Sunday school class adopt a Saturday, so that there's got to be 12 classes or a couple of smaller classes that can join together. So each month is covered where we have plenty of volunteers to prepare the food and serve it. If we have a lot of volunteers, we can actually serve the men. They stay in their seats. So I just would need to know ahead of time if there's going to be a lot of people there. So it would be nice to have a number, but we deal with, God is in control and He takes care of it every time, whether there's 3 of us, which there has been only 3 of us, or 45 at one point. We did have 45 go at this one Christmas Eve.
Wow. And there's always enough food, isn't there?
Always.
Always. I love it. Okay, so I want us to talk in a minute about the Mum Night at Longview Heights, but before that, I heard you mention something about worship. And so you all have actually formed a band out of this ministry. So tell us about this band.
So the first time I went, I was asked, "Mike, will you sing?" And of course, sure, I'll sing, but I didn't have any music, I didn't have any track, I sang an a cappella song. And then it was like, well, can you get somebody lined up for next time? And then we had different people that have gone with us through the years, Lee Green, Chuck Moss, Scott Hanbury, Richard Todd, but little by little, we formed a group of now we've got 7 members that go at various times, and we rotate in and out. It's not always the 7, but we have a full worship band that goes. Lou Ann and I primarily sing vocals, but we've got several others that sing vocals back up with us, and from that, it's actually grown into more opportunities for us to share the gospel at other locations.
So tell us about that. Tell us the name of the band and where else now you get to go.
The name of the band is Under Construction, and we play at festivals. We have played at fundraisers. We've even played at a couple of restaurants, and the money that was given to us for playing was donated to the Memphis Union Mission. And we always tell our story that we are about the Memphis Union Mission, and we share about the mission and what God's done there.
That's really neat.
So the Mom Night's going to be about our third one that we've done. We actually bring the Memphis Union Mission experience to Longview so that you can see what it's like and what we go through and what we do. Every month we bring the food that we serve the men, and we serve it here. The dinner is free, but we take donations, and they will be given directly to the Memphis Union Mission. And then Under Construction will be worshiping, and then Mike will bring a word from the Lord.
And we will have meatball sub sandwiches.
We
with
will
cheese.
have meatball sub sandwiches with cheese.
And Oreos
And
tortilla
Oreos and
chips.
tortilla chips.
Okay, all right. Well, that sounds wonderful. Tell us again when that is.
That's going to be Wednesday, August the 2nd, and dinner will start at 4:45 as usual.
Okay, and then will the worship service go on and just start like our normal worship service
Yes.
time?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I asked this earlier to them, and I want you to hear this too. Do we have to register for this, or can we just show up? Just
No.
like men at the mission.
Just show up at the mission.
That's right.
Okay. Well, we're excited about that. Thank you for telling us that, and thank you for serving and leading in that ministry here at Longview. So I asked them, and I think you'll probably want to know too, do we need to sign up for the Mom Night to come and eat?
For the Mom Night, you don't have to sign up. It's just like the mission. The men show up to get fed, and they get fed. If you show up, we'll feed you.
Okay. All right. Now, there is something you do need to sign up for, though, because we hope through this exposure that you will sign up to be a part of this ministry. You will maybe talk to your Sunday school class or your community group or your Bible study group or whatever. But how can someone get involved in this ministry?
Yes, and they don't have to be a member of the church. It can be a group of friends. But if you would like to join us on the third Saturday of any month to go to the Memphis Union Mission, you can give me a call, Lou Ann, at 662-420-8779, or you can contact the church office.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to tell us about it?
Just that God blesses us very much from this ministry.
And I do remember you telling me that you thought you were going to go there to bless them.
That's right.
And as all ministries really are, you ended up being the one blessed.
That's definite.
All right. Well, thanks, you guys. And I hope you will take this opportunity to get involved. Come to the Mom Night on August the 2nd for dinner and the worship service, and sign up and get involved in this ministry.